these plants, they definitely cannot stay here, so we will have to move them. We'll have to move them, but that is okay because we can move them. But what about the plants that we cannot move? What are we going to do about those? Myself and my garden, we are located on the southernmost part of Jamaica, and Beryl is just bad news. Absolutely bad news, not just for me and my garden, but for Jamaica and the south coast in general. We are in trouble and we're hoping Beryl goes away. Welcome to the channel, guys. Appreciate you joining me this morning. Guys, it is not looking good. Beryl is nowhere near Jamaica, and it is summer and we should not be feeling this cool, so it's not looking good and we're hoping for the best. My last recollection of hurricane conditions in Jamaica was Ivan, and it was not pretty. Trees were falling, we were out of electricity, no internet connection, so guys, you wouldn't be able to see me. That's sad. It was, but fun and joke aside, it's horrible because Jamaica's infrastructure is not the best, and we struggle with just a storm, a little rain or a little wind. We had a freak storm the other day and our leaves were off the tree, the fruits. It was just not good. But it is at this time that we appreciate container gardening, because for the most part we would be able to take up some of these containers and put them where they're safe. Now, this is the south coast. Please excuse the neighbors' dogs. Over here, this is the south coast. Now, the weather forecasters said they're saying that the hurricane will be passing, if it should pass Jamaica, it will be passing on the southern section of the island, where low Kingston and St. Andrew is right at the bottom of Jamaica. So that is we can't get any closer to the south. So if it is that the wind will be coming in, these plants, they definitely cannot stay here, so we will have to move them. We'll have to move them, but that is okay because we can move them. But what about the plants that we cannot move? What are we going to do about those? And guys, I hope that wherever you are in the Caribbean, the Windward Islands, I just hope you're all preparing and you're making yourselves and your family safe. We can do so much and no more, but at least we can do a little to ensure that we're fairly safe, because natural disasters, they're unpredictable. But we're hoping for the best and we have to do what we can, right? We just must. So for all of these plants, we're staying tuned to the news and to the weather, because if it is serious now, but if it continue on the same path, we'll start moving everything, the ones that we can move. But let's take a look at what we can do to the ones that we can't move. Not one of these containers will be able to move. In these two, I recently planted sweet corn that my husband got for me, and they're just starting to sprout. So for these, we can't move them, but things might be able to blow branches and fall onto them. So what we can do is place a piece of plyboard or grill. You may be able to find grill line around. Place every object on top of these, as heavy as possible. Pile blocks on top of them, so the wind, because the wind is coming this way, the wind can easily get under whatever is placed on top of them and blow it off, and then branches may fall into the container and destroy. We will lose some of the crops if it is that it comes, but we're trying to save some. For example, the yams, we won't be able to save it, but for yams, if the vines break off, they will spring back. But for corns and so and stuff like that, for the dasheen, this we might not be able to save, but we can simply cut off the damaged part and they will spring back. The peanuts, we'll try and cover them just the same. Nothing much that we can do about that. But as I said, if it continues to be serious, we will start moving, covering, do whatever we can, or put the stuff close to the container, so should the we start experience hurricane conditions, we can hurry and just start covering stuff. But then we have trees. What do we do about the trees? Can we do anything about the trees? Let's see. This is a citrus plant that we have growing here. Now for this tiny plant, I wouldn't do anything to it because the plant itself is very sturdy. It is not heavy enough for the wind to bend it and break it. The most that will happen to this is all the leaves will be blown off. If that happens, it will grow back. The leaves will spring back. If it was a bigger tree, then I would probably cut off the branches, cut them off closer to, that is if the wind is right at our tails, because I wouldn't want to cut back my plant and then the hurricane reduces its strength or it passes far from the country and we just get some rain. With the rain, it might cause flooding on the lower parts of the island, and I'm sorry for those persons, but we're really high and we're on rocks and we have valley on both sides, so the water tends to just run off and we don't experience flooding at all where I am. It's not the same for others. So for others who experience flooding, there is not much you can do when it comes onto your trees. That's why sometimes you try and plant things in containers, so you, after the storm, you're not depressed because all of your plants died during the storm. They say after a storm there's a calm, but that's not necessarily true, because yes, there's no more wind, so it is calm in the atmosphere, but in your mind it's turmoil. It's worse because for a lot of us, our gardens are what brings us peace and joy and comfort, so we want to save as much of our plants as we possibly can. And that is why I encourage you to plant some of your stuff, if not all, in containers, so you're able to save them in the case of a natural disaster, because it's literally disaster on your mind when these things happens. What about the bigger fruit trees? What do we do about those? This soursop tree I would classify as one of our medium-sized fruit trees. No, the other day, if you should watch my garden tour, I think it was the second to last garden tour, I shared my other soursop that was producing so well. It had so many fruits on there, and in that freak storm that I told you about earlier, it blew off all the fruits. It blew off the leaves of the tree. So for my soursop tree, this one I would prune, but not only prune, but also stake steel or something sturdy around the plant and use rope to bind it. So it lessens the chance of me losing the entire plant, because this plant is big enough to bend and break in the wind. It won't go all the way down and back up, because if you have experienced hurricane before, your trees can literally bend, touch the ground and get back up. But if it is not pliable, it will break. So I'll try and secure it. Even if it blows down, it won't break because it has support. So that is what I would do with trees like these. But for bigger trees than this, there is no way to secure your entire plant like that. I'd have to do other things in order to secure them or to save them, because sometimes you can't. You will lose the leaves, but if you save the trunk and the thicker branches, they'll spring back in no time and you have your fruit trees again. But what do we do about the ones that are fruiting, we're currently eating off of? How do you save those? It's hard, and we don't want Beryl here. Beryl, please go away. We don't want you here. No, large fruiting trees like this, can be dangerous. So that's one of the reasons why there are dogs next door. Whenever they hear my voice, they bark. Right. So I was saying these fruit trees can be dangerous. Not only fruit trees, big trees, large trees can be dangerous during hurricanes. And one reason is because their branches can become missiles. So they can break and they can be blown into your windows. They can, so many things. If they're really, really big and close to your house and they topple over, the roots of the plants could destroy your flooring as well, because they grow onto under, I should say, your floor, and should they topple over, they will come up and come up with the floor as well. So it is incredibly important that you prune these heavily way back, as long as you know that the hurricane is going to hit you. You try and remove as much of the branches as you possibly can. That way the wind will likely move through the plants, because there aren't enough leaves on it for the wind to take the tree down. And you'll be able to, rather than the entire plant toppling over, it will spring back after the natural disaster, hopefully, and you'll be able to save your fruit trees. Your ripe fruits or fit fruits on them, harvest them so you'll have them to ripen inside, rather than have the wind blow them away and you lose all of your fruits. It's better you're growing back your fruit tree for 1 year than to have to replant and wait 5-6 years for you to get fruits from your tree again. So should the hurricane should it be forecast that it will hit Jamaica, we will cut back all of our big fruit tree, the limbs all the way close to the trunk of the tree, and that way we will save our fruit trees. Now I'm quite cognizant of the fact that we might not be able to save some of our trees. Say for example that banana tree. It's highly impossible that we'll be able to save our banana trees if it is that the hurricane should hit our country. But what we could save are the suckers. So if we see that it is proper serious and we're not able to save the bigger plant, that is the last thing we want to do, but we will be forced to remove the suckers, take them inside. Until the hurricane passes, we replant the sucker. Because even with a stake, because of how heavy the banana tree is, it is loaded with water, it will be blown down flat to the ground. Ivan, everything was flat. Every banana tree, some of the coconut trees survived, but the banana trees flat. But you can save the suckers. There are suckers in there, so we just have to come again. And that is why it is called a disaster, because it literally devastates your crops, your infrastructure. It just causes damage. So that's the most we could do. For the yam, I just remove the stake and allow it to lie flat. And after the wind passes, then I stake it again. So we'll be able to save the yams. No, trees that can destroy your garden. So if you have trees, big trees close to your garden, try and get them limbed so that when the wind starts picking up, they won't become missile and just destroy what you try to save. As I said, there is so much you can do and no more. But save what you can in your garden, because you know we love our trees, we love our plants. So we have to do what we got to do, right? Sugarcane is another thing that the hurricane, they just don't mesh. Hurricane and sugarcane do not mesh. Same thing with the banana. They're really heavy laden with water, so they will be blown flat to the ground. If you have sugarcane that is ready to be harvested or almost ready, cut those and eat them. The suckers, sugarcane will grow back extremely fast. If you can save some of your suckers, save them and replant them. This one also, though, you can consider medium size type of thing. So you can probably stake plenty really strong stakes around it and wrap them around with rope, chances are they will rock. But after the wind passes, you can, depending on how strong the winds are that you experience, you can save them by staking and wrapping them together, just like the Chinese do. Keep them together so that even if they topple over, sugarcane, you can literally pick up the bunch of sugarcane and replant it. So if they're close together and they topple over all together, after the wind passes, you reposition them and mold them back up and they'll grow back. So that's how you can save your sugarcane. So you will lose some, like your papaya. The papaya, you might lose the entire. You can chop off your papaya top and it will spring back. But don't do that unless you see where the hurricane is imminent. It's going to hit you head on and you really can't do much. Otherwise, just leave it and pray and hope for the best. That's the most we can do at this point. So guys, for all of you out there, be safe. Let us all pray that this system passes us scot-free. Just give us a little rain to cool down the heat. But to how hot the time has been, guys, I knew something like this would happen because it is just too hot. And the hot waters, they are what caused the hurricanes to develop. So it's so warm in the Caribbean Sea, it's going to actually they're going to be system developing, and this might not be the only one for the season. So just be prepared and stay safe, guys. Appreciate you joining me as always. Thank you so much for the support, guys. Pray for me and my garden, cause boy, we right in front of the sea, man. The sea right over there, like, it is beautiful, but it is scary at these times. So guys, thank you. If you're watching and you've not yet subscribed, please go ahead and press that subscribe button, also the notification bell, so you'll be notified whenever I post another video. Please remember to like and leave your comments. At this time, I accept prayers and well wishes. Share with your friends, guys, because persons might be able to benefit from this the same way you are. So please send and share this with your friends and family, and God bless you all wherever you are in the world. I know some of you are experiencing extreme heat at this time. Guys, just stay cool, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated. God bless. Take care. Bye bye.